Good evening, everyone, and you're welcome to another insightful session of the Europe and UK Scholarship Series, which is an initiative of the Agri Scholars Mentoring Hub. I am Omobolanle Kalinikoshi, the founder and the host of the scholarship series. And for those of us that are joining us for the first time, this is to let you know that this series is actually created to provide clarity, structure, and practical guidance for students and young professionals that are seeking for fully funded study opportunities across Europe and the UK. So all of our previous sessions are available on our YouTube channel. So peradventure you need to catch up on one of our sessions, you can always have access to them on the YouTube channel. And when you do, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so as to get more scholarship updates. And for our session today, we'll be focusing on the NAWA Scholarship in Poland. This is one of the prestigious, fully funded scholarship we have in Europe that is although mostly overlooked by international students. And if you are exploring fully funded opportunities, either in Europe or you are preparing for a master's or a PhD opportunity, I can bet it with you, this session is actually designed to equip you with realistic expectations and winning strategies. So we are going to be covering different topics like how to prepare your application for the NAWA scholarships, writing the motivational letters and essay, practical tips to improve your competitiveness, as well as common mistakes to avoid during your application. But before we proceed to today's session, I would like you to introduce yourself in the comment section. Please drop your name and the country to which you are joining us from. And most importantly, please feel free to invite a friend or a colleague or an aspiring scholar that needs to be part of this session. You never can say they can act, this session can actually be what they need in navigating their scholarship journey. But before we do, as we are waiting for people to join us and introduce themselves, as our custom, we would like to briefly acknowledge the creator of the universe with a short opening prayer just to kickstart the session. Our Father and our God, we thank you this evening. Thank you for bringing us back to this stage. Thank you for the session we've hosted. We thank you for the success so far. And we know that today's session is going to be a successful one. And for our speakers, the wisdom needed, the insight needed, have you give them the right utterances in the name of Jesus. And at the end, Lord, we want to have full cause to glorify your holy name. In Jesus' mighty name of prayer. Amen. All right, so we are still waiting for you guys to join us in the comments. So we are waiting to see you, just to welcome you. Oh, all right. I have Joy from Nigeria. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. You're welcome to our scholarship series for today. Daniel from Lagos is here. He's joining on YouTube. Thank you so much. Oluwatobiloba Pukola, thank you. It's an honor to have you on our platform here. I also have Olumide. Yeah, we have a lot of Nigerians here. Amodu Godwin, thank you so much for joining us. And I also see Charity from Nigeria. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, thank you for also joining. I see Bright, so I can see a lot of. I thought we only have people joining from YouTube, but now it's good to see that we have people from LinkedIn as well. Bright, thank you for joining us. Adiza is also joining us. Thank you so much. And I know, of course, we are going to have more people joining us for the session in between. Yes, but then we just want to go straight into our session for today. So tonight I have two outstanding NAWA scholars that is going to be bringing their complementary experiences to today's conversation. So I have Segun Olorunlowu and Gbemisola Daini. Both of them are NAWA Scholar awardee for the year 2024. And just to let you know that they are currently studying in Poland. I might not be able to get the pronunciation of their university correctly. But then just to let you know that they are here to actually walk us through the scholarship journey from the beginning to the final submission, how to position yourself for the scholarship success. So you have them, and I want you to just pay attention to everything that they will be saying. And most importantly, if you have any question, maybe you've been trying to apply in previous years with no success, now is the time to bring your question on board, like during the question and answer session, so they can provide clarity and guidance on that. Just to start, so I welcome both of you, Gbemisola and Shek. Thank you for joining us. Do you want to say hello to our audience?
Very much.
Yeah, ladies first.
Oh, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning from wherever you're joining. I'm Gbemisola. I'm a graduate of biotechnology from Nigeria, and I'm also pursuing my master's in plant biology at the University of Silesia in Katowice, Poland.
Wow,
Over to you,
that
Segun.
was a good introduce
Thank
yourself. Thank
you.
you so much,
Thank you very
Gbemi.
much. My name is Segun Lo.
Welcome.
I'm a second year master's student at the University at Poznan University of Life Sciences. I'm a graduate of animal nutrition and I'm currently pursuing a master's degree in animal nutrition at Poznan University of Life Science. And my more or less like research interest is generally in ruminant nutrition. So thank you very much for extending this invitation, Omobolanle, and I look forward to having a nice moment with every one of us here. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Shego and Gbemisola. I'm so honored to have both of you on our platform today. Thank you so much for honoring my invitation as well. Okay, so starting with your personal journey, like we know it, that's our custom, right? I would love to start with Gbemisola. So, do you mind sharing with us a bit of your academic and professional background and what specifically motivated you to apply for the NAWA Scholarship in Poland?
Okay. I would like to first of all thank you, Bolanli, for inviting me to this session. I'm very much honored. And okay, to start off with my professional background, like I said earlier, I am was a student of biotechnology from the university from Mount Top University in Nigeria, where I graduated with the first class in biotechnology, and I was also the best graduating student from biotechnology as well. And before I graduated, I'd always been interested in scholarships because I knew that they were my most excellent choice for furthering my studies. So even at 400 level, I had already started researching scholarship opportunities. First, I had to narrow down my search to a very good search engine. For example, some people would decide to use like Google, and I started with Google at first, yes, and I came across the story of Messi Ojetunde, now Messi Okay, and she was the story was published on Scholar Intel Region, and that was where I first got the insight into using Scholarship Intel Region to actually find out scholarship opportunities. So I joined their Telegram group and I set apart a day or two in the week aside my busy schedule when I was serving and also before I started serving to search for scholarships that I was a good fit for. And during those times, one of those days, I stumbled on the NAVA scholarship. And then I went through the requirements of the scholarship. And I'd like to introduce that the NAVA scholarship is also known as the Stefan Banach scholarship, and is a scholarship that funds the master's program in Poland. So I came across this scholarship. I went through the requirements, and then I submitted my application, having understood what was required of me. And I noticed I was so a very good fit for the scholarship. So I proceeded with the application and submitted earlier before the deadline because, of course, there is a caveat, and I believe that I'll be able to explain this further as we go on. Yes.
Wow, thank you so much. That was a very interesting story just to see that you started even as right from your 400 level. I think that was when I also started looking out for opportunities, scholarship opportunities as well. So, one thing I would love to take away from our personal journey is the fact that early preparation it gives you an advantage in your scholarship application. You might not necessarily get it at that first instances of applying, but it helps you to learn the ropes along the line. Okay, this is what I can do better. This is what I can improve by the time I graduate from school and everything. But I'm just so curious. Did you only apply for NAWA scholarship, or you apply for previous other scholarship before NAWA? I'm just a bit curious about that.
Okay.
Amy.
All right. So, of course, the journey of scholarship application does not begin with a yes, usually, in most cases. So, it's a litany of love letters of course, we know love letters as rejection letters. And so my first rodeo at scholarship applications was, I think, Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. Yes. And so I advanced from there, and then I wanted to apply to another scholarship from Commonwealth, but went through the requirements, which is very, very important in any scholarship application at all. You always go through the requirements and understand them very much. So one of the scholarships from Commonwealth Master Scholarship was required an NYS certificate, and since I was in 400 level, there was no way I could apply for it. So of course, I had to narrow down to what I have, and then I also moved to Chevenil and considered Chevenil, but received a love letter as well, and moved into some American universities for a PhD application. Some love letters, moved on to UK universities, got admissions, partial scholarships were not fully funded. So it was daunting. I'm not even going to lie at some point, but and I couldn't give up because I had quite the number of mentors that knew my story. So one thing is you must have mentors who believe in you, because you might receive so many love letters. In fact, I received one love letter at the beginning of a new year. So you can have a whole new year planned and you're receiving a love letter on the first day of the new year. I don't know how that particular commission works.
Wow.
Send that email on the first day of the new year. Like, who does that? It was demoralizing.
Yeah, so
I didn't even know
thank you
I
so
was
much
steps
for
in there. I
sharing.
didn't know I was doing that.
Yeah, I can perfectly relate with that story, but I just wanted you to bring up that part because it sounded as if you only maybe after you finished from school you applied to NAWA, you got to NAWA
Wow.
straight. So it's important to let our audience know that yeah, there's actually a lot of it's a process, it's a phase. And during your application journey, of course, you are going to encounter rejection, but just to let you know, it's not the end. You have to continue if you think you are very serious or you are determined in getting the scholarship. So that's very important that everyone knows this part of our scholarship story. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'll move on to Segun because of our time. So, Segun, from your own journey, what are the factors that actually influenced your decision to choose Poland, like as a place of study compared to any other top study countries in the world? So that's just
Okay.
I wanted to choose
Thank
for us.
you. Thank you very much for that question because think I was thinking you will start with the way you started with Bimi and I would say she had said it all. Like she had said it all, but for me the what's called factor that influences my choice was network. Network. Because for me, I did not stumble on NAVA scholarship. It was a senior of mine that graduated ahead of me that got the scholarship, and then we all belonged to a particular scholarship network. And everybody was just saying, congratulations, congratulations. And then I messaged him and I was like, okay, congratulations. So could you tell me about this? And it was like, okay, when I settle down in Poland, I'll let you know. So fast forward to when the was called call for 2024 was out. It was one that reached out to me, and it was like, okay, this is what the scholarship is all about. And then, so for me, by default, it wasn't as though I planned on applying for NAVA initially, but because I would belong to a network where there is a NAVA scholar there. So it was one that more or less like puts me through, okay, these are my experiences here in Poland. I was like, oh, that's not bad. And I could see what's it called, his trajectory, what he's doing, his achievement. And I found it profound. And then I was like, okay, so let me just give this a try. And then, all thanks to God, here we are.
Yeah.
So network really influenced my decision of choosing.
I hope you guys are just taking note of these key gems. Like we've not really gone into the session, but at least from the two of them, you can see that I intentionally asked different questions, but it all came back to almost the same thing of like building your connection. I think Bemi mentioned something about mentorship. And now Segun is saying something about network indirectly, which is also mentorship. And that's very important for any aspiring scholar. You must be part of a community. Nobody wins in isolation. Nobody wins alone. You might not necessarily have a mentor, but have a community of maybe you guys are pushing together Or there's no way you even want to have it without having someone you are looking up to. If you are going to a very particular location, you need to have someone ahead of you that can guide you, like this is the route, this is how to go about it, so you can end up getting to that same destination. So I beg it with you, if you're out there, you don't have any scholarship group, you don't have a mentor, you don't have a network, you are not active on any social media, please, this is the time for you to just put things together in shape, like belong to a community. Of course, you have a Agri Scholars community, and I can also share the link with you in case you are willing to join us. All right, so thank you so much, the two of you, for sharing your story. So I'll just go because the way we are going to have the session today is like Gbemisola is just going to share a brief overview of the scholarship, what the NAWA entails. Then Segun is going to give us a detailed presentation on the application process. So it's a bit different from the way we actually have it in our previous session. And because of some other engagements, Gbemisola will need to step out for a while and join us towards the end. Okay, so Gbemisola, over to you now. I just want you to give us a breakdown of what the NAWA scholarship actually entails. Maybe for someone that is just hearing about the NAWA scholarship, is not as maybe popular as the like of Commonwealth, Chevening, Mastercard. Those are the big scholarship out there that people are aware of. But this one now, maybe someone is just hearing it for the first time. So who can actually apply for this type of scholarship, and what are the type of programs or fields that this scholarship actually supports?
All right. Thank you very much for the question. So, like I just stated before, NAVA is a scholarship meant for master's degrees, and is also known as Stefan Banach Scholarship. And it's targeted at citizens of developing countries like Nigeria, for instance, Azerbaijan, Mexico, even Ukraine. Now, the programs involved in NAVA scholarship are usually STEM fields. So we have them aggregated accordingly. Agric sciences, so we have plant biotechnology, animal sciences like Shegun, and engineering and technical sciences such as electrical engineering, computer science, data science. And then we also have exact and natural sciences, so where we can find biology, genomics, and environmental sciences. So graduates who have studied any of these fields are eligible to apply for the NAVA scholarship. Now, one thing I've learned in about the NAVA scholarship by also relating people past winners, I've been able to understand that in some there are certain outliers. For example, I met a scholar holder from is it Tanzania, or I can't remember the country. No, Zambia. Yeah, Zambia. And unlike the fields I mentioned, STEM field, she is not a graduate of any STEM field. She's instead a graduate of law. Very shocking, right? And she's studying IP here in Poland. So even if they're the expected fields from STEM that we already know and it's relatable in NAVA scholarship, there are also some outliers like war and other graduates. And it might do you well to research on the fields and see if you are also a good fit according to the universities you'll be applying for. But usually, STEM fields are mostly preferred and what is um, asked for in most cases of NAVA. And I'd like to mention that the NAVA scholarship application is very dynamic. So it's not like most cases of other scholarships where you only have the same pattern of application requirements yearly. No, in NAVA, it changes. And so I will talk about the requirements now. And the NAVA scholarship application process is divided into two parts. There is the NAVA application, that's the scholarship, the main scholarship application, and there's the school application. The school application is separate from the NAVA because you need to have a school in mind, a school of choice, and you can find a school of choice on the Study Poland website. I would send the link to you in the chat soon. You can be able to find the school of choice, narrow down to the course you are interested in studying, and then also look at the requirements for the course you want to study. And I would like to state that in most cases in European countries and even in Poland, they prefer when you have a bachelor's degree that corresponds to the other course you want to study, your graduate course of choice. So, for instance, you have a biology degree already, bachelor's degree. They'll expect that you also continue in the same field and not like do a very drastic point of maybe change to something that is unrelated to biology at all. Yeah, except you have to maybe demonstrate very strong reasons for this kind of switch. Now, so I would like to start with the required for the application in NAVA. Okay, I'd like to talk about the question, the documents required for the NAVA application. Now, I'll talk about application process for NAVA specifically before I now go into the school application. The first document you require, of course, we know we have to submit transcripts, and it's called a diploma supplement in most cases. So the transcript or diploma supplement, of course, you have to submit your BS certificate. You have to have it available, your WAEC, your passports, and then your birth certificate, English proficiency. I would like to state that your English proficiency can either be from recognized institutions like IELTS or TOEFL, or it can also be from your university where you graduated, which is just a an English letter of proficiency. So you can submit that as well, a soft copy. You can upload this on the portal. And then I will want to also talk about the school of choice, like I stated earlier, the two processes, NAVA application and the school documentation. Documents required for your school include, of course, again, your transcripts, your basic certificate, and other. I can't really specify about the schools because every school is unique. So there are specific requirements for each school, and it's not based off on a one approach. So you have to identify the criteria for your application. For example, some schools require you to authenticate your documents before uploading it on the portal, whereas some schools do not require you to do this, and you can just submit your documents without authentication. Now, when you're applying for NAVA scholarship, I would like to state that you have to have made the choice of schools before you even start the application. So now is a good time to start checking schools out and looking at the requirements and also looking at what they offer, the programs they offer. Is it suitable? Does it fit what you are pursuing? Now is a very good time to start that. And for the number of schools you can apply to in NAVA, you have a maximum of two or a minimum of one. In my own case, I applied for just one university, and that's the university I am currently studying at. And you pay an application fee. By the time you're done, you pay an application fee of about 30,000 to 35,000, all depends on the current exchange rate. Now, some schools, particularly, like I said, they don't have like a one size fits all approach for application. Some schools might require you to submit motivational letter, school, statement of purpose, or personal statement, and some might even require that you submit a or you attend the placement test and they will communicate the dates to you. Now, in most schools, if you are not submitting maybe an English proficiency letter from certified unknown recognized holders like IELTS and TOEFL, you would have to attend a test, an online test with them, and it requires that you answer all the questions that they direct at you in English, of course, and you get marks to know if you are good enough for the program. And now, the next thing I want to talk about in the application process, you're going to need it in, I think, your school and possibly your NAVA application as well, is something called the Sirena document. So, the Sirena document is a new version of the Polish government's way of authenticating your documents. So, what it requires is that you have to apply on the Sirena website, and I believe that Segun will talk more about this extensively in the coming few minutes. And I would like to advise that before you start your application at all, make sure you start with Sirena. So Sirena school of choice, make sure you have this started as soon as possible because the NAVA scholarship is very unique in the sense that you might open in June and you have like 3 weeks of deadline. But when it comes to the application closing, it is not actually dependent on the deadline. It is dependent on the quota. 300 applicants can submit in every section, and NAVA Scholarship has about four sections for different countries. There's the section A, section B, section C, and section D. Nigeria usually belongs to section D. And in this case, only 300 applications can be submitted in every section. So it means that if the 300 applications are submitted in section D, which is for Nigeria, that is the end of the application. So if you not submit on time, the opportunity is gone. So it means that you are not going to be relying on the deadline that NAVA has written on the website. No, you're going to work faster than that. So that's why it's essential that a seminar like this came up so that we can be able to inform you about this beforehand. And now I would like to talk about the time. Okay, now cover that already. I would like to talk about the realities of this scholarship. Even if we know that, of course, scholarships are meant for people who are high achieving graduates, it is also necessary for us to understand that some scholarships have certain criteria that they might not even put online, they may not make it official, but we've observed some patterns over the years. And one of the following things we have observed, and for NAVA have observed over time, is that NAVA seems to have a preference for graduates with a CGPA of 4.75 and above. This means that over time, the graduates we have met or the scholar awardees we have met usually have a CGPA from 4.75 and above. We haven't met, I mean, from 2 years and now, we haven't met anyone with a CGPA that is lower than that. And one of the official requirements of NAVA, as well as that is known in this case, is the fact that your BS certificate must not be older than 2 years. Yes, this is very, very important. So you must not have graduated 3 years ago and be applying now. You will not be accepted. In most cases, we have seen that you won't be accepted. So to be eligible to apply for a 2026 scholarship, NAVA scholarship, you must have graduated between the years of 2025, 2026, perhaps, and 2024, but not 2023 or 2022. Yeah. And the last thing I would like to say is, of course, we know that after you submit a very good application, that's why you need time. So all the things I've mentioned, like Sirena, the certificates, and the documents you need to get in hand now, they are things that you should work on immediately before you even see the window open. I remember in my time that the window opened in June, but the advertisement for the scholarship opened in May. And so what that meant is I only came across it like maybe less than 30 days before the window opened. And that meant that I had to start preparing, checking the requirements from previous years because the requirements were not yet available since the window had not opened. It was just advertised. So I had to start checking the requirements on previous years to understand what would be expected of me to submit because just need to be prepared. Then one thing I also did was use the networking. So I was already established on LinkedIn, and then I started searching out past winners of the NAVA scholarship because yes, of course, they might not be able to put in work for me in my application because that's my personal responsibility to myself, but they might be able to provide very helpful tips. And I did that, and they also let me know the requirements that I should expect even outside of what was posted. And also they let me know about the hidden Nigerian thing of the CGPs that we expect. So I knew what to think of and how to put my best foot forward. Now, I would like to close with in every scholarship application, after you submitted a quality document and information, of course, don't forget to pray. Yeah, don't forget to pray. And you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Here's my name, Gbemisola Daini, and I would also attach a link my profile for more details. Thank you very much, Mrs. B, for having me.
All right. Thank you so much. That was so detailed. So if you are there, please just give her a emoji applause in the comment section. So just to let us know that she has really given us a bit of a broad overview about how do I call it, about the scholarship itself. So one of those things you need to note from what she mentioned is early preparation. Early preparation is very important. I think now is going to open around May and we are in February. So if you are considering applying for it, I think this is the best time. So having this session now is not a coincidence. It's actually just to keep you ahead of the application. So you have the time right now to start applying. She gave us a bit of the requirements that is needed. You need to start working on your English proficiency, the Serena documents, a lot of things that you cannot do within 2 weeks when the application is opened. And again, she mentioned that there is a quota. It's not about the deadline, it's about the quota. Once the quota is, they've been able to reach that quota, definitely they are not taking in more applicants from a particular country. So these are just little things that you might not get the information out there, but webinars like this can actually help you get access to all this information ahead of time. So thank you so much, Gbemisola. I really appreciate your time and the tips. She has made us know that most of the time it's not on the website, but they have preference for first class students and for those that have their bachelor's degree like 2 years, not later than 2 years. So that's something that is worth noting when you are putting in for this application. Yeah, thank you so much, and I really appreciate your time. So I would let she has some other engagements, but she would return to continue with the session. So for now, I will hand over to Segun. He's going to be presenting, and I think she'll pick it up from where Gbemisola stopped, which is more in details about the application process. So over to you, Segun.
Thank you very much. Please, could you confirm, like, is my slide showing?
Yes, I can see your slide.
Okay,
You can
thank you
put it
very
on
much.
slide
And
mode and if you want.
okay, okay,
I don't know if it's going to affect. Okay, yeah, better.
yep. So thank you very much. And I must say, Pimsala has actually done what's it called? Just giving an overview, and in fact, it's even more than an overview, it is in detail. But I would like to add fresh to this, what's it called, what she has what got built. Um, Let me start with this. We're talking about NAWA Scholarship and the document you need to what's it called, apply with. And my name is Segun, who was I've earlier introduced. And the first fun fact I would like to talk about is if you guys are what's it called, if you're paying attention with how myself and Gbemisola have been introducing it, we said NAVA. That is, it is not NAWA. So this is just more or less like a fun fact. And NAWA actually means Narodowa Agencja Wymian Akademicki. That is, it is the Polish National Agency for Academic Exchange. So more or less like it is something related to the Ministry of Education. But the program we'll be talking about in particular today is the Stefan Banach Scholarship. So what am I driving at? That there are several scholarships under NAVA. Under NAVA, we have Poland, my first choice, study in Poland, Stefan Banach, and many more, and many more. So Stefan Banach is a joint initiative of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and NAVA here in Poland. And the focus is to help developing countries out Gbemisola had earlier mentioned, to what's it called, reach socio-economic development. So if you belong to developing countries, which we'll be projecting soon, so this is an advantage. And amidst other scholarships that NAVA, what's it called, gives out, this particular scholarship covers for studying both in Polish and in English language, making it more ideal for everyone. And it is focused, or it is majorly for master students. And the eligible countries are the following. I may not be able to read everything out, but then if you're a Nigerian, congratulations, we are qualified. And countries like Ghana is not here. I don't know why. Like 2 years ago, Ethiopia was here, but I actually don't know why Ethiopia was being removed from part of the eligible countries. So it is actually not only about being a developing countries. We don't know what happened, but I believe that even in this what's called subsequent year, Nigeria should be there because we've always been having a good record. And how do I put it? Like, yeah, track record, great track record, being NAWA scholars. So these are the countries that are eligible. I'm talking about who is eligible. The very first thing is you must be a citizen of one of these eligible countries. You must be a citizen of one of these eligible countries. So you must be a Nigerian, probably if you're an Indian, because I want to believe that this webinar is not only for Nigerian alone. So just if you belong to one of these eligible countries, congratulations. You're on your way to getting NAWA scholarship. And second eligibility is that you do not have a Polish citizenship, or probably you've applied or submitted an application for a Polish citizenship earlier. So that is the second qualification. And the third one is that you're planning to start your second cycle study in October. That is, the program starts in October and everything boils down to what's it called between May or probably May, June, and then October. That's when you have for your application to school, for the scholarship application, and resumption moving to Poland. So you must bear in mind that it begins in October. And then the other advantage is that it's not only meant for fresh graduates. If you're a student in your last semester of what's it called, your bachelor's degree, you are eligible to apply. And as Bimsola had earlier mentioned, you must not have graduated 2 years earlier than the intended year of application. So the next call you are expecting now is the call for 2026 application. So if you've graduated earlier than 2024, I am sorry, you are not eligible. But if we have scholars on this group that they have, what's it called? The year of graduation is between 2024, 2025, 2026. Congratulations, you're on your way to getting NAVA. And then finally, you do not hold a master's degree. So and then you have not received a scholarship from the NAVA director. Bimisola mentioned earlier. So proof of language like proficiency. So if you're applying for a Polish program, you must have confirmation that you are proficient in Polish. And if you are applying for English, your program is in English language, you should be able to confirm that you're proficient in English language. And these are the documents you need confirmation from your university, which was what I used when I was applying. That your teaching and your grading were in English language. I believe that most of Nigerian university issue this document, so you really do not have to apply or probably write IELTS or TOEFL exam. So proof of English language is a must, and also to the eligible program. Bimsala had earlier mentioned them, but I would just want to uh, briefly talk about the engineering and technical sciences. So if you study mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, civil engineering, computer science, and technical related majors, so you are eligible to apply. If you study agricultural sciences, agronomy, animal science like me and Bolanle, horticulture, food science, you are eligible. Also, if you are in applied sciences, mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, etc., and if you are in life sciences, biotechnology, environmental science, and biomedicine, um, if you notice, there is nothing like medicine, surgery, more or less like medical field. So these are the preference for this particular application. However, there is always a way around it. For example, Bemsela mentioned someone who studied law and then she's doing something different. So if you probably have a bachelor's degree in maybe management or maybe economics, accounting or something, you can figure you can figure it out. For example, you can study something. I know someone who had background in business administration and is studying agricultural economics. So it all depends on you. So it depends on your interest. It depends on what you actually um, have interest in. So now moving to the fun part of it, the required documents. Gbemisola had already mentioned, given us, she has given us an overview of the document that you need for this application. But let me emphasize that if you are really interested in applying for this program and you do not have a passport at the moment, please, maybe on Monday, start applying for passport, international passport. You need a passport. You need a passport. So the second thing you need is a scanned copy of your bachelor's diploma, and that is if you are done with it already. And if you are not done, probably a document from a university stating when you will be done and your grade, your name. So what they're actually looking for to in these documents includes your name and your surname, the name of the university issuing the certificate or the document, um, your program, the date of completion or the planned date of completion, information about your grade, and a stamp to attest that it is an official document. So as at when I was applying, my certificate wasn't ready. I used my what's it called statement of result. So as long as it is an official document that is being issued to you by your school, so you're good to go. Now, moving to the next part, you need a document confirming that you are participating in what's it called recruitment exercise. So Bimsola earlier mentioned that this scholarship has two applications because this particular scholarship is more or less like okay, look for a school, have an admission, don't want to sponsor you. So it is left for you to look for a particular school. So they need a confirmation that okay, this person is actually serious with this application. So have you taken any step when it comes to applying to a school? So and the documents to confirm these are probably an admission letter to state that you've been admitted to a university, or probably a document to prove that you've initiated an application. For example, when I was applying, I submitted a document confirming that I have initiated application. So as at that time, I haven't gotten an admission. So just like they just want to understand that do you know how to figure your and do you know how to find your way around the application here in Poland and something like that. So even people use proof of acceptance payment just to show that you have initiated application. And this particular aspect, I would like to note that it is dynamic. Bemsola mentioned it earlier that the requirement for this particular program is not static. So if you're applying for 2026 application, what I'm about to say may be different from what you experience. But let me build upon what we submitted during my application. We were required to submit a letter of recommendation for the 2023 scholars. The letter of recommendation required by them, like that they were asked to submit, was from anybody, probably your project supervisor when in your university, anybody that can just attest to your skills, your interest, you understand. But for us, because I applied in 2024, we were asked to submit a letter of recommendation from a Polish diplomatic mission. So more or less like you go to the Polish embassy in your country, ask them to grant you a letter of recommendation, which I must be sincere, it was very difficult to get during our set. I didn't submit application with this. So I didn't submit application with this. So but for 2025, it was different for them. 2023, they requested for letter of recommendation from anybody. 2024, letter of recommendation from the consul office. 2025, they were asked to submit a video recording. A video recording, a self-presentation of themselves justifying their choice of study, justifying why they want to study in Poland, and more or less like their career goal. So this particular video is being used to assess the application. So kindly bear in mind that 2026 things may change. They may ask you to just submit letter of recommendation, statement of purpose, or anything. Just bear it in mind. So how do they evaluate? So this is for 2024, the year I applied. So as you can see, the evaluation, most of the evaluation is from your academics, like your academic grades. So 70% of it will be coming from your cumulative grade point average. So they would equate it to 70%. So for example, you're on scale of 5.0 and you have probably 4.75. So it is automatically 66.5%. So if you graduated with 4.75 on a scale of 5.0, so you automatically have 66.5%. So now imagine somebody having a recommendation letter, which is more or less like close to 30%. So you'll be having points close to 80 or 90%. So, but during my application, let me see if I can highlight here that, sorry. So, okay, during my application, it was earlier stated that you must have 60% of the grading skill. You understand? So for you to be to for you to have a positive evaluation, so you must have nothing less than 60%. However, however, I would like to note that irrespective of the point you're having, because of the minimal, or how do I put it, the budget. There's always a budget for every year. So because of the budget, so there's always a limitation to the number of students that they can actually offer admission. So they would want to rank the points. You understand? So someone having 90 points and you're having 61. So there's always preference for those with higher points. So kindly bear that in mind. And for 2025, the same thing here. 70% from your academics and the remaining 30% from the video recording they were asked to submit. And the justification and how they evaluated it was that they will look at your scientific interest, your previous activities, your goals, justify the choice of study, and then what is the expectation? Like, what are you looking for to start this whole program? And then the condition for obtaining positive assessment is 70 points, 70%, with 50% of it coming from this particular one. And that means that if you're having, as at those for those that applied last year. So if you're having nothing less than 3.75 or 3.8 upward on a scale of 5.0, you have this already. So what you're left to, what's it called? Work on is your video. So this way, so this was how the evaluation for 2025 was done. And what are the benefits of this particular scholarship? You have a 2 year tuition waiver, like you won't be paying tuition fee for 2 years. You have a monthly stipend. You have a monthly stipend for the whole what's called period of studying. You also have the privilege to experience cultural integration. Like you meet students from different countries, different backgrounds, like you integrate with people. And another benefit is that you have travel fund. So the cost of you traveling from your respective country over to Poland, it's you will be reimbursed your travel fund, and ultimately you would have the privilege to learn not only about Polish as a language, but even Polish culture, history, because during this course of what's it called program, during your summer break, you will be asked to go on a 1 month Polish adaptive course where you will learn Polish language and many more about Poland. So, how do you apply? You have more time to prepare your document. You have more time to prepare your document. So, you watch out for the call between now and the call is always released in what's it called around May or June or thereabout. So watch out for the call. So while you are waiting for the call, I would advise you to initiate an application to any of the Polish what's it called university. And how do you find a university that offers your program? You can use StudyGov. Let me confirm the link. Study.gov.pl. Study study .gov.pl. Sorry guys. So with this website, you have access to universities in Poland, and what's it called? You'll be able to navigate desired your course of interest, whether it is being offered in Polish or in English language. So that's one. The second thing I think you have to do before the call is out is review the admission requirements. Gbemisola was talking about Sirena. So Sirena is more or less like application process whereby the Polish Ministry of Education will evaluate your academics starting from your bachelor's to your like from I'm referring to Nigeria like this now. Your secondary school, that is your WAEC or probably NECO, and they would evaluate your bachelor's degree just to ensure that the academic standard of your country is equivalent to Poland. So just to ensure that you have that background. So Sirena. And so ultimately, what you have to do is when you go to that study.gov.pl, you'll be able to check out universities that are offering your course, look out, read the admission requirement. You would be asked to, what's it called? Submit NAWA recognition letter, and that's Sirena. So there's always a process or a procedure on how to go about this. So I advise that you have this. If you are interested in applying for Stefan Bernard Scholarship, please have this before the call is released and gather every other document. If you do not have a passport, get it now. If you have to reach out to your school for proof of English proficiency, please get it now. Please get it now. Please get it now. Because the call is just within 30 days. And I don't want to say let me say the interesting part is that the call is when the call is out, all the eligible countries are divided into four. So, for example, Nigeria is always in Group D, that is Group 4. So now Nigeria will be what's it called, grouped with countries like I think for my set Belarus, I don't know, like maybe five other countries. So now for all of this group, they would require maybe 300 applicants from each group. So you may be thinking, I have 30 days to prepare, but if on day 10, the 300 applicants for your group is complete, that's all. So it is advisable that you get your documents. Maybe I'll find a way to paste this link in the chat session, how to check the list of universities and programs. So this place you would be able to access the list of universities and program. And if you have any information on how to apply, so you can go on to what's it called, log on to programs.nava.gov.pl. So you should be able to navigate your way around it. You have access to other scholarship opportunity under NAVA. And if there's any email or anything or any inquiry you would like to make, you can send it as an email to banach@nava.gov.pl. So I'll try to probably paste all of this link in the chat session. So thank you very much for your attention, and let me thank you in Polish. Dziękuję za uwagę. That is, thank you for listening. My name is Segun Olorunlowo, and my LinkedIn handle is Segun Olorunlowo. Thank you very much. I look forward to your questions, and thank you very much once again.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was a very detailed how do I call it, walkthrough for the application process of what the NAVA, I think, let me not pronounce it the real Polish way. So, what it actually entails. Thank you for giving us that overview, the requirements, and how applicants can start preparing themselves earlier for the how do I call it, for the scholarship. I'm just a bit curious. Is it that when you're applying for the scholarship, it doesn't require something like motivational letter, CV, or a
No, no,
written?
no, no, no. I forgot to say that NAVA scholarship happens to be for me. If you have all of this, what's it called, if you're eligible, it happens to be, don't let me say, one of the cheapest scholarship. Because just imagine you're not submitting statement of purpose, you're not submitting anything. Just that they believe that as long as you have that academic achievement, you're a good fit. So if you're applying for Chevening, I applied for Chevening, applied what's it called for MasterCard, you submit a whole lot of essay for this particular scholarship. There is no essay. I don't know if there will be essay for 2026, but as of now, there's no essay.
Wow. Wow. I think this is the first scholarship I'm going to hear that does not have an essay. To be honest, like definitely is one of the cool scholarship people can really, really explore if you meet the
Exactly.
required like the academic merit. Let me just put it like that. Just imagine that you don't need to stress yourself on CV. You're trying to draft your motivational letter. I was so curious you didn't mention anything like
Okay,
that.
okay, okay. Let me what's it called, put a balance to it. It now depends on the school you want to apply to. Some schools, for example, I know someone who applied to my current university here. The school require that we'll do interview with you to test for your proficiency, just to ask about your background. So it depends on school. But when it comes to this particular scholarship, for
Department.
now, there is no need for any essay.
Okay. Yeah, just to get it clear now, we know is in two parts. One is the university application, then the
Yes.
other one is the scholarship application itself. So I know that part of the scholarship application is to have your admission requirements, your admission letter or any
And
document
proof that you've initiated an application. Yes.
initiated it. So coming to the scholarship itself, it's not like they really have a structured essays around
No,
it.
no,
I
no,
know
no.
for perfect. So I think that's something that is very, very amazing to see that you don't need to, if you can find your way around the university application, you are good to go. And when the scholarship is out, just put in your application and yes. It's a very interesting one. Thank you so much, Shego.
You're
Because of
welcome.
our time, we'll just go into the question and answer session just to take one or two questions there and we round it up. I think we are really on time for our session this evening. I'm not sure if Amy would still want to join us back. Okay, so let me just use this moment to also thank every one of you. Thank you for your time. It's been 1 hour into the program, and you are here joining, and you've been patiently gleaning from the wisdom of our speakers. So, thank you so much for your time, for your attention, and for being part of this amazing session. I just want to welcome other people that I was unable to welcome from this beginning of the session. So I have Bright Amadi, thank you. Umuru, thank you for joining us. I have Adamo. I think I'm having a lot of northern people here. Thank you so much for joining us. Jeremiah, thank you. I see you. Bridget. Okay, David, thank you for joining in. I think I received your DM yesterday. Charles is also here joining us. A lot of Nigerian. Okay, Timothy, thank you for joining us. I'm looking for questions anyway in between my greetings.
I think I've
Omobayo.
seen more or less like two or three questions here.
Okay, now I'm going to get this in. And if for Woshe, thank you for joining us. Jacob, you're always here with us. Thank you. I appreciate your constant support. Okay, I think I have Tadish from Hungarian University of Agriculture and Life Sciences. It's good to have you on board. Thank you so much for joining us. Olaoluwa, you are welcome. Samuel, thank you. Francis, thank you. Emmanuel, you're welcome. Abubakar, thank you. This was the link that Gbemisola shared. So this is from, in case you want to reach out to Gbemisola on her LinkedIn profile, this is the link. So you can always, how do I call it, get in touch with her. And I think he even posted this link earlier on before she left. So how to select schools in Poland. So in case you are looking for, I myself, I need to check the website and I see that it's very easy to navigate. So you can just open it from your browser and you can initiate the application even immediately after this session. Gbemisola, okay, is there an opportunity for chemistry student? I think since we talked
Yeah.
about STEM and
Yes,
chemistry is
yes.
part of science, so definitely there's an opportunity for that. Okay, finally, I have someone from Sudan, South Sudan. So thank you, Joseph, from joining us all the way from Sudan. Abel, thank you so much. All right, so to our first question, it says, please, any opportunity for PhD in maybe pharmacology? But okay, let me let you answer the question anyway, because I know we have been talking about master's opportunities.
So, unfortunately, Stefan Bonacci is majorly for master's program, and for PhD opportunity, I would say what's it called? You use LinkedIn, other search engines, scholarship search engines to check, because most PhD are based on project or probably there's research funding, so there would always be more or less like a call out. So from my understanding, when it comes to scholarship in Europe, so scholarships are majorly for masters, but when it comes to PhD, there must be a project you want to major. So I stand to be corrected, by the way. So there must be a project you want to, what's it called, dive in, and then, so that's it.
Okay, so thank you so much for that. So it's important to reiterate that this particular scholarship we are talking about, which is a Banach scholarship, is specifically for masters and not PhD. Um, Ocon, let me pronounce the second name, permit with me. So it says, can you retouch about the CGPA aspect for a 5.0 scale?
Okay, thank you very much, Okon. So, as I mentioned earlier, the what's it called? Most of the point is from your CGPA. As at now, 70% of it is from is from your CGPA. So if you have 5.0 and you have like maybe 4.5, so how do you know your points? So on a scale of 5.0 and you have 4.5, that will be 4.5 divided by 5.0 times
Okay,
70.
okay, 70.
So times 70. So using 4.75 as an example, 4.75 divided by 5.0 times 70, you get 66.5. So out of the 100 points you need, you have 66.5 already. So whatever thing they ask you to submit as your additional document, maybe recommendation letter, maybe statement of purpose or anything. So that's where you're now putting the other effort so to meet up. So that is how the evaluation is done.
Oh, thank you so much for that. I think I got you got your calculation correctly. Yeah. Okay. Somebody is asking about Uche. Yeah, I'm sorry, because of our time, we might not be able to do a bit of summary of everything we've discussed so far. But glad to inform you that this session is recorded, so you can always, is on YouTube, is on LinkedIn, so you can always watch it back at your convenience to catch up with whatever you might have missed out on. So yeah, that's just it. And we are actually talking about the NAWA Scholarship in Poland. So in case you missed it out. Okay, so Miriam is asking, do you have to apply for a school separately before you apply? I think she wants to talk about the scholarship, so I guess she also joined a bit late. Maybe you might want to retreat on that, Shegun.
Yes, yes. You have to apply to school separately, and you have to apply for the program separately. So using studygov.p, or probably I will send the link again. The what's it called? All the links in my presentation have been sent to what's it called on LinkedIn. Check there, so you have access to the university list of universities, their requirements for university application, and you have to do that independently of your scholarship application.
Okay. So, Leak is asking, is this scholarship applicable to all African students? So once again, I want to encourage you. You can always go back to the session. I'm sure when he started the presentation, he gave us the list of all the countries that were actually eligible. Not so. Just to answer your question, not all
All
Africans
African countries.
eligible for the scholarship. So that's just it. He mentioned that Ghana, Ethiopia, and few countries are not part of it. So you can just do a bit of wind back to the beginning of the session where you can see the list of countries, or better still, you can get the information on the scholarship website. Um, okay, the Serena document. I think,
Okay.
yeah, maybe you can help us talk more about it.
So Sirena, the website is Sirena, Syrena .gov.pl. Syrena .NAWA, sorry, let me come again. Syrena .NAWA.gov.pl. Probably I'll send the what's it called? I'll send it to I'll post the link on LinkedIn. So now what Sirena does is that what they use Arena for is they would use it to equate
Is
your
it like this? Sorry,
tag. Exactly, that's it.
but
So I
it's on
said tag
YouTube.
in
So
Polish,
I'll
it
send
means
it
yet.
to
So
All right.
so Sirena is more or less like they just use it to evaluate your grade. Like, okay, you have 4.5. And all what's called your courses you've had in your undergraduate, is it equivalent with what we have here? Let me use the US educational system as an example. We call something West evaluation, right? We call it West evaluation. So Sirena is more or less like evaluation system to equate whatever you've gotten in your country with what what's it called, Polish educational system looks like. So you have to submit your document, you have to submit. It is very, very simple. It is simple, and you don't have to pay or you don't have to do anything. You just log on to that website, follow through if you want to apply for a bachelor's degree program. But now you want to apply for a master's program. So there is an option for how do I put it? Option for you applying for a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, second cycle degree. So you see, submit an application for diploma or academic degree. And let me note that all of this website, most of them would always be in Polish language. So I advise you to log in to this website on your laptop and then try to translate the page using Google Chrome. So you have to either submit application for your secondary school certificate or your diploma degree. So you click on the option for submit application for diploma degree, and then it is very simple. Fill in your information, upload your the scanned copy of your documents, and wait for probably 30 days or thereabouts. So you wait for certain like a number of days before your recognition letter will be out. So most of the time, so they will just tell you that okay, congratulations, you've gotten. They would issue you a letter that now the certificate you have is similar to what we need here. So as I've mentioned earlier, the best way I can explain it is if you are familiar with the US educational system, it's more or less like West evaluation. So that's I hope I'm able to answer your question about Sirena. Welcome back,
Okay.
Demi.
Olua, so beloved, I hope that answers your question. You can just drop a emoji or something in the comment section. So thank you so much. Gwemi, you're welcome back. I had to call up back
Thank
for
you
the
very much.
question and answer session. So maybe you might want to take this question. I think Lick is asking, is there an opportunity for an MSc in climate change and development? And to be honest, I think it's
I would say
pretty,
yes.
if it's
I
in
would say
science
Yes,
or
yes.
there
social
is.
science.
Yes, yes, because it's more or less like environmental sciences. It's environmental
Okay.
sciences, and it's
So
part
what
of the
did you
program.
study previously?
Um, Leak, you might want to drop that response in the comment section so we can know how best to answer your question. So, what did you study maybe in your bachelor's? But yeah, they are letting you know that there's a opportunity for you to study MS in climate change in Poland. While Lick is doing that, I will, because of our time, I want you to take, I think there is a lot of questions coming up. So you can also want to answer this question for us, Bemi. Oluwatobi is asking, I graduated from animal production and my research interest is in molecular biology. But if I heard correctly, we are to stick to your first degree study or I need clarity. I think it was Bemi that mentioned something like that. I don't know.
Yes, I mentioned this. I said that you don't have to go really far from diversify so dramatically from what you actually studied in your bachelor. So animal health is actually possible. I know a friend who studied animal health and is also studying biotechnology now in Poland and is a NAWA scholar. So yes, that's possible.
Okay.
It's not like
Okay. So
you cannot make switches from fields, but it mustn't be so huge that is they are
So
not even related at
the
all.
exactly, that's what I want to say. You have to find a connection. So you can't tell me like you study agronomy and you now want to do animal science. Like it's not
I think
connecting.
that one is even still relating. You can't say you study
Exactly,
agronomy and you want to go and do biomedicine. Biomedicine.
exactly,
It's like
That's
very
why
exactly.
wide. Agronomy
Yeah.
and
expect
animal
people to
science is still in
demonstrate
agriculture.
reasons why you did this. I've seen some people who demonstrated reasons. For example, I know medical students that actually apply for scholarships in Poland to study biotechnology and plant biotechnology
Yeah.
from medicine to plant biotechnology,
Even
and
pharmacy.
it worked.
Even pharmacy.
Yeah, totally fine. So you must be able to demonstrate the reason why you're making such a very huge change. It's quite huge.
Okay. So all right, so that's it for Oluwatobiloba. Then Ocon is asking, does it mean that someone with 4.5 or 4.6 doesn't stand a chance? Shegun, you were the one
No,
talking
no, no,
about
no, no,
grade.
no. No, we were trying to call your attention to something that most of the points you'll be having is from your academics, from your grade. So if you have 4.5 or 4.6, you still have the chance. Do you understand? But as we've earlier mentioned, that your evaluation will be in two phases. The first part will be from your academics, and the other part will be from whatever NAVA requires from you. Maybe a motivational letter, a video. They can even say probably you should be dancing on a video, but that's just by the way. So the other part, so whatever part they ask you to submit as a supplementary to your application, like you understand. So that's where you now put in more effort because by default you are qualified already by default, if you have 4.5, you have 60 above, you are qualified already. But if you have, for example, in my set, I have a scholar that applied with 4.93. Bemi is aware. You understand? Scholars like Bemi, we know what they applied with. You understand? And you that you are now applying with you that you're now applying with probably 4.2 or thereabouts. So there is more or less like preference, you understand? And also, because there's a limit to the funding for that particular year. So they won't be able to take in more students, even if they have more qualified students, so they'll have to do the ranking. So if you have 4.5 WJ, welcome, but the other document you'll be required to submit, so you have to put in more effort. So if they ask you to clarify certain things, please do that very well. So I believe you'll get it.
Yeah, so I think that's just to clarify it. So if you have 4.5, 4.6, just give it a shot. Don't limit yourself. You never can say. So it's very important, but do well to also step up your game in other areas of your application. Um, Jacob is asking, I didn't hear about the stipends. I know you mentioned stipend, but can you give us like a specific amount of what the stipends look like?
Gbemisola, please, I'm handing over to you.
Okay, so this depends. When you come into Poland, you are given about, I think, 6,500 zloty. The country Poland has its own currency called zloty, means gold. And when I came, it was about 6,500 zloty. It was combined with my travel costs and my allowance for the month. So both of them you can use to, maybe if you're taking a loan, for example, before you leave Nigeria, you can use it to refund wherever you got the loan from or anything. But within 1 month or so, you should be able to get your stipends. And then monthly, you get about 2,500 zloty, which is technically less than 1 million in naira. Yeah,
That's
it's
actually a
about
huge
900.
amount of money anyway, because I think you guys were supposed to say this, like looking in terms of the economic living, it's not as high as other European countries. So whatsoever you are being given
Yes.
as a stipend is something that is sufficient enough to take care of your day-to-day living expenses. So please
Yeah.
get
Your
this
living
right. So
expense, your
yeah.
your 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 what's it called? Accommodation, feeding, health insurance,
Insurance,
sufficient, it is
yeah,
sufficient, sufficient.
Yeah.
transportation.
Okay, so Daniel is asking if I have 2 degrees, is it advisable to make use of the 2 degree? And now I'm not sure if you are talking about bachelor's and master's, because I think Shegun already clarified it that if you have a master's degree already, you are not qualified or eligible for the scholarship. So I don't know if you now did 2 bachelor's degree. I'm not sure. So maybe you want to clarify this question, Daniel. Yeah. Mohammed, yes, this session is recorded and you can always have access to it either on LinkedIn or YouTube. Someone is asking, is there opportunity for someone with, I think he's trying to say BTech in soil science and land management? Yes, it is STEM. You already see science behind it, so definitely is a science course. My bachelor's was from development studies, and I got a postgraduate diploma in DRM. Now we don't know what DRM means. Maybe development studies. I don't know, but
For me, regarding this particular question, as long as your bachelor's degree is within 2 years, like you've gotten it not earlier, like not later than 2 years from now, I think you can just give it a shot. But when you are applying, your postgraduate diploma is not, what's it called, doesn't count. So
I
or when
think
you
this
think
was
about it,
Leak. You know, we asked Leak which bachelor's did he did.
oh,
He
true,
was
true,
doing
true, true,
masters
true.
in
Yes, yes,
climate
yes.
and maybe something like that. Maybe I'll need to
Okay,
scroll back. So this
I
was
can
his
remember that.
response that he did something in development studies, and I think it's still within the range. I don't know. Is it very close for him to apply for a master's in climate stuff?
Yeah, yes, yes. For example, in my university, Poznan University of Life Science, there is MSc in Environmental Sciences. MSc in Environmental Science. You can look into that. Poznan University of Life Science, POZNAN University of Life Science. So you can look into that.
Okay, so Leak, I maybe you joined a bit later, so you might need to go back to the video. I think South Sudan was part of it. I guess I'm not sure, but you might need to watch back the video where he actually displayed the list of eligible countries. Or better still, you can go to the website to confirm if your country is actually part of the eligible countries. I don't know. Okay. Then Uche is asking, yes, I think we've answered your question. Yes, 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 yes. We've answered your question. Um, Daniel, okay, I have 2 undergraduate degrees. Okay. The first degree was in chemistry education, while the second undergraduate degree was in biochemistry. But I did well in my biochemistry degree compared to my first undergraduate degree. Can I make use of these 2 results? Gbemi, over to you.
Okay. So the last I recall from the application in 2024 was a space for only one degree. Shego, am I right?
Yes. So and
So you can
also,
only upload
yeah.
bachelor's degree. How recent is your biochemistry degree? So if it's not later than 2024, then I think it's a good one.
And the other reason that disqualified the first degree is that it would have been more than 2 years because you
Yes,
completed that one and then you started the other one. So it is. So you
Definitely.
won't be able to use your first degree as long as you say you did well in your biochemistry degree, and which happens to be more or less like the second degree. So you can apply with that.
okay. So, Daniel, I hope that actually answers your question. So, in case the second degree is a recent one, not more than 2 years ago, you stand a chance of even getting more eligible for the scholarship than using the first degree. Then Leak, I think we asked what's the meaning of DRM. So I think he responded with disaster risk management. So what he did in his bachelor. So yeah, Leak, you just need to how do I call it? Go to the website and get more information. But I think with what you studied in your first degree, if you know how to relate it well to the program you're applying for, you stand a chance of getting the scholarship, provided you also meet other requirements as well. So yeah, I think that's just it. I'm not seeing any other question in the comment section. So yeah, we've been able to do a lot of justice to that. But just to wrap up with this session, I just want to ask the two of you to give us one final advice that you think could help anyone that is applying for this year's circle of the NAVA scholarship. I'm trying to get that pronunciation very well. So let me start with Gbemi.
Okay, so I am going to stick to what worked for me. Early preparation. Early preparation. Apply to schools early. Identify the school you want to apply for, and identify the method of payment for your application fee. Because I think some people really identify the school they wanted to pay with them to actually study in, but they had issues paying the application fee, and it was almost near the deadline and had to start running up and down to actually get this sorted out. So please identify your school on time, identify your requirements on time as well. Do you need to authenticate at the Ministry of Education, or the Ministry of, you need to legalize as well, get your eligibility letter from Nigeria. It's very important. And please have your passport. Early preparation, submit quality documents. Yeah. And reach out to people that if
Thank
you
you so
have any
much.
difficulty at all, reach out to people that might be able to help you. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So
Thank you so much for giving me. I think that's a very key thing that helped her. If you noticed from the beginning of the session, she has been emphasizing on that so much. So, yeah, this is the best time if you know you are interested in this particular scholarship to start preparing. I think you have a couple of 2 to 3 months or 4 months to start to put in your application documents together. So by the time they're announcing it, maybe 1 week or 2 weeks, you are ready to submit the application. Okay, thank you so much for that, Bimi. Over to you, Shego.
okay, for me, I would say network. Thank God for LinkedIn. Just search NAVA Scholar because with that I was able to identify certain people because Bemi mentioned one of the problem you probably would face paying because some of these Polish universities would require that you pay in euro or you pay in zloty. So connecting with a scholar and not until, for example, it was during last year's application that people were now reaching out, please can you help me pay? And in between that period I was dealing with my thesis, preparing for exam if I'm not mistaken, so it was not convenient for me. I just had to take my time. So early preparation, you should have built that connection, so please reach out to, it's not compulsory that you reach out to me. Like, I'm not even saying that you reach out directly to me. You can just search on LinkedIn, Nova Scholar. You can look into their profile if you're fortunate enough that they do something in line with your field. So that's a perfect thing. So that's all from my end.
Thank you so much, Shegun, for that. And I think I do tell a lot of people that reach out to me or my mentees, like try to build relationship first before requesting for favor, mentorship, or guidance. It's very, very important. That's when you build trust and people are able to confide in you, they're able to trust you, they're able to trust you with their time, their energy, their resources, and everything they have. So try to reach out to people and don't let it be like the first thing when you are reaching out, can you be my mentor? or can you review my document from where, please? There are better way to approach people when you do that. So you need to be polite, you need to respect their time, their you need to set boundaries. So it's very important when you are reaching out to all these guys are busy. They are doing this is particularly me myself. I'm just taking an extra time out of my weekend to organize this together. So it's not like you just come into people's DM like we need this, we need this. Try to build a relationship, network strategically, and with that, people can actually confide in you and give you their time to guide you through the application process. So yeah, that's a very good one. Thank you so much. And as we wrap up today's session, I'm trying to wrap up in the next 1 to 2 minutes. I want to thank you both, Segun and Gbemisola. You've really done a bit of justice. And let me thank Gbemi. I actually reached out to her last week, which is so unusual of me. Like I tried to reach out to my speakers like 2, 3, at least 1 month beforehand. But to my surprise, she just gave a yes despite her schedule. You can see she's been managing other things alongside with the session. So yeah, thank you so much, Gbemi. I really appreciate it. And Shegun, yes, we've been together over the years, and I've been able to reach out to him for a long time. So that's why he was able to plan everything. So I really appreciate the details to which you guys have been able to provide as regards the NAWA Scholarship. Thank you so much. And to everyone that joined us live, thank you for your time. I know it's not easy, your data, your subscription, and everything, and you have to set out like 1 hour, 30 minutes. Thank you so much. And in case you missed any part of the session, maybe you joined late for one reason or the other, just to let you know that we have the replay on our YouTube channel or LinkedIn, so you can always go back and watch the session. But most importantly, we would like you to connect with us on LinkedIn. You can always follow my channel on LinkedIn for more scholarship updates. And by God's grace, in 2 weeks' time, we'll be bringing you another session, scholarship session in Europe, where we would also be discussing more opportunities that you can explore in Europe. So thank you so much, and we want to bring this to an end. And remember, you don't have to have everything figured out. You just need like clarity to take that first step. And that is why we are having this session. And yes, like we started with a short opening prayer, we are also going to do that with, we are going to wrap up with a short closing prayer. Our Father and our God, we thank you this evening. Thank you for how far you've helped us. Thank you for the clarity. Thank you for the wisdom that our speakers have been able to dish out this evening. And for as many that has joined us, we believe that this session will be instrumental to the success of their scholarship journey in the name of Jesus. Thank you, Father, because you've heard and answered. For in Jesus' name we've prayed. Amen. So yes, thank you so much. And we want to wish each and every one of you success as you navigate your scholarship journey. Do have a wonderful evening and enjoy your weekend. Goodbye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.